Get your cameras ready for that, but I wouldn't go chasing any thunder snow around. It's not like you can chase a thunderstorm. It's not like summer like that. It just pops up, the lights flicker a little bit, and that kind of a thing. Heavy snow continues into 9 a.m. on Sunday, but a quick wrap up with that, and then lighter snows could keep going until about 3 p.m. on Sunday from Cape Ann down through Cape Cod. As you might imagine, the snow stays constant on the South Shore, and that's where we have our 10 to 15. I mean, really down through Buzzards Bay. The South Shore initially about 7 to 10. This area of blue is pretty wide for a reason. I'm allowing myself a little wiggle room here, and maybe that 4 to 7 will squish down south of the Pike and will envelop both Boston and Worcester, whereas maybe that 710 would be a little bit closer to Plymouth, or it may kind of just drift up a little bit and we might move that 4 to 7 up. The real variable is how far north that heavy snow gets, but I'm pretty confident in 10 to 15 and locally up to 20 inches. If you get into any thunderstorms in southeast Mass, game over. So the winds will be a huge factor, and that's why we have the blizzard watch up. In some cases, the wind will be over 50 miles an hour from Chatham to Nantucket. What is a blizzard? It's not just wind. It's 35 mile per hour or more with visibility down to a quarter mile or less in over 3 hours' time. So you have to have all those things going for you. Anyway, tonight, partly cloudy, not as cold, less wind, 10 to 20, and then your 7-day forecast. Storm is all on Sunday, Saturday night and Sunday, and then after that, we're cold but not bitter. See you next half hour.
And if you have any good winter weather pictures or video, we want to see them. Just email us at send it to 7@whdh.com. Well, a 7 News Storm Force will be working overtime for you this weekend. Join us tomorrow with Pete, Jeremy, and Dylan, keeping track of the coming storm. We'll also have reporters live at different spots all across the state. And, of course, you can get the very latest anytime on whdh.com.
How about traffic on a Friday afternoon? Let's check in now with Frankie Fox.
All right, Krista, it's going to be a tough ride just about everywhere this afternoon. Now, we're looking at the camera shots, the maps, rather, of the Turnpike. We had an earlier car fire on the Pike westbound. This was out by the Charlton Rest area, and it really jammed up the ride. It's been doused out. They're in the process of pulling that out. Actually, the car fire was eastbound, but it caused the big delays on the westbound side back beyond 290. We also have a breakdown on 495 southbound approaching the Turnpike, causing some delays. A lot of folks are already traveling for the Christmas holidays, so that's a lot of heavy volume out there on the Turnpike. Let's go live now to Sky 7. We have some issues south of the city.
Plus, Bruins legends take to the ice at Fenway right now on News Center 5 at 5.
You're watching WCVB TV Channel 5 in high definition. This is News Center 5 at 5. Local, live coverage you can count on.
Flooding rains in Florida.
Very, very bad. Never seen this before.
Turning to snow in North Carolina.
We're prepared for it. We do it every winter.
It is the same system we are bracing for. A weekend nor'easter with its share of snow and wind. And good evening, everyone. And this particular storm that we're talking about is constantly changing.
And there is new information just coming in, including a blizzard warning for part of our area. Harvey Leonard, we got to know what's the latest.
All right, well, definitely the track of the storm continues to trend slowly as though it's going to get a little bit closer, which means we get more and more of the effects. Clearly, the cold air is in place. There's no two ways about that. This will be in the form of snow. And here is the storm as it starts to make its way up the East Coast. I want you to concentrate on this white area, western North Carolina into Virginia, which will be into Washington, D.C. in a few hours. That's the area that will come as far north as our area before it starts to get shunted to the east, meaning most of us are going to be involved. I want to give you an overview of some of the effects that you can expect from the storm. This is going to be a heavy snowstorm for the entire northeast corridor. That means Washington, Baltimore, Philly, and New York will all have major amounts of snow, and Boston will probably just get included in that group as well. The very heaviest snow amounts are likely to be a little bit to the south of Boston, but again, I'm thinking that Boston will be involved in pretty impressive amounts. Strong winds along the coast, especially on Cape Cod. Now, there's a whole host of watches and warnings up, and I'm going to certainly be going over that, including the blizzard watch that's in effect for parts of the area, how much snow to expect, and the snow timeline. I'll have all of that for you in a few minutes. But as you heard, this storm has already caused havoc over the southeastern states, power outages, flooding, and more. And ABC's Mark Mullen has more.
In South Florida, rain really is a four-letter word. This unwelcome storm is causing streets to flood, accidents to happen, and motorists to take a chance every time they drive down a flooded street.
I'm just hoping that I'm not going to stall out and have to push my car through the rest of it.
Dedicated diners at this flooded restaurant ate with rainwater at their feet. In North Carolina, the problem was snow. Pretty on the trees, ugly on the road.
Yeah, everybody's going real slow. Nobody's speeding or anything like that. Wouldn't be advisable.
Though tow truck operators and police kept busy clearing accidents, they may just be getting started. Forecasters predict the storm, which started in the Gulf, to continue moving east, dumping a stripe of heavy snow from North Carolina to New York City, impacting big cities in between the most, like Washington, D.C., where 1.5 feet of snow could fall, and where residents are stockpiling supplies.
I meant to get a shovel last year, but never got around to it, so this is the time.
Officials in the nation's capital say they are prepared, with hopes the worst of the weather will pass by Monday when government reopens. That, of course, is a concern for adults. These kids say they are just happy to play in new snow. Mark Mullen for ABC News.
And as Harvey has been saying, this storm is a bit of a tricky one, so we encourage you to stay with News Center 5 and, of course, our website, thebostonchannel.com, all weekend long as that forecast will continue to get updated and refined. We also invite you to upload your storm photos to the ULocal section of thebostonchannel.com.
A guilty plea from the Massachusetts state senator who injured 2 people in a hit-and-run accident, but Senator Anthony Galluccio won't be spending any time behind bars. News Center 5's Janet Wu is live in his hometown of Cambridge and with the restrictions that have been placed on him. Janet?
Well, Anthony Galluccio says he accepts full responsibility for leaving the scene of an accident 2.5 months ago, and he apologized to the